Hi friends, in Planet Earth Dating, it's Tuesday, July 18th, 2017. In both the Lynn Life and the Jamie Body Mind, the authorized souls remain only child souls from the deeper, denser dimensions and nature realm's guardians. What does that mean? Someone is asking. A nature realm's guardian is someone who defines himself or herself as a guardian of the nature realms, standing up for the natural worlds, standing up for the realms of nature on behalf of those who cannot speak for themselves. Somebody's saying, is that what those people are? And they're pointing to souls in these host lives. No. Those aren't nature realms guardians. Those are nature realms souls, but they're every bit as selfish and self-centered and lazy and cowardly and grasping and believe their problems are the worst as everybody else in all dimensions. And we have noticed how comforting it is to just see that things are actually the same in all dimensions. Sentiences have the same issues in all dimensions. It doesn't matter who they are, what they are, where they're from. We all have the same issues.
That's true.
Why do you ask? And also, who above you is answering to the label of a guardian but not behaving that way? Oh, there's a big looking up feeling.
That's true.
And what do I know? Someone is asking. I know that we got an assignment yesterday and that it took us more than a day to figure out what the assignment was, and we didn't really realize it until this morning.
That's true.
And we're a day late, and somebody's saying, and $1 short.
That's true.
Now they're asking, what did that message mean? And I think it's a message about scarce resources. We only have so much time. We only have so many resources. And here we sit waiting for somebody else to craft or create or meld an actual divine plan based on actual sentiences in the dimensions in which they're actually experiencing sentience, with their actual awarenesses and actual intentions and actual resources. And I think the data is in that nobody is doing that. Everybody feels that surely this must be for someone else to do.
That's true.
And that they surely are supposed to be attending to their own personal enormous problems. And what do I know? I know that this is an era of collapsing dimensions and that there are big problems everywhere. It's an era of inconvenient realities. And so I understand that feeling that presences have. But paradoxically, selfishness doesn't actually work. It doesn't work to create lives of joy and worlds that work.
That's true.
It doesn't. We have to let it go. Those who work on behalf of the greater good are actually living more joyful lives. They might have less, and they might be working harder, quote unquote, but the work feels joyful. And so is it work or is it a calling? Is it an avocation maybe?
That's true.
And what do I know? I know when our vocation is what our avocation is, then joy is present in every moment.
That's true.
If we're choosing a good attitude, we could be in the exact right job. Somebody's again saying, well, I don't like my job, and so this can't possibly be my job, but I can see their butt print and the shape of the chair, and they're exactly in their right job. They're just choosing a bad attitude. Again, the data is in. It doesn't look like anybody else is crafting an actual divine plan.
That's true.
So when we see an important job that's obviously needing to be done and no one else is doing it, it's important for us to have the attitude of, until somebody's doing this better, I'll do it. I'll do what I'm able to do with the resources I have at my disposal and the skills I have and the intention to get better at it and get really good at it, actually, with the intention to excel at it eventually. Start where we are, use what we have, do what we can. Thank you, Arthur Ashe. And with that, the formally videoed portions of today's efforts begin. Now that we have a little bit of airflow going up, let's see if we can just start pulling up, just as we have been doing for so long, those who affiliate with having a soul plan to manifest the divine plan no matter what anyone else does or doesn't do. That doesn't feel right. Let's try again. How about this? Let's pull up those who have the soul plan to manifest an actual divine plan, no matter what anyone else does or doesn't do, and that an actual divine plan is defined as a plan that's based on actual sentiences in the dimensions in which they're actually experiencing sentience, with their actual intentions, actual awarenesses, and actual resources. And with that intention to start to groom up and draw up the soul plans of the smaller levels, of the cellular levels and the molecular levels, of the electron levels and the quark levels and the photon levels, and so on. Can you feel that grooming motion in place now?
Yes.
Does it feel similar to grooming the karmic records?
Yes.
Yes. So with that grooming motion in place, continuing the grooming motion, not stopping that grooming motion, add the intention to align all of these soul plans with the awareness of not only the assignment of manifesting an actual divine plan, but also taking into account the intentions of those who are answering the call, the intentions of these soul plans. And I feel things shifting.
That's true.
And now adding in, actually taking into account the awarenesses of these soul plans, and now whoosh, it's like 99% of them drop away.
That's true.
Next time we'll start with awareness. That'll help.
Yeah.
Now just groom these soul plans to manifest an actual divine plan. Those who have the awareness that it will take to manifest an actual divine plan. You know what this reminds me of?
No.
Give the skinny kid the mic. Something that has been said for many years by many really great souls who have come and gone. And they notice that it is presences with energy bodies that look like skinny kids that are actually the clearest channels. And when we add in this awareness, all these presences look kind of like skinny kids.
That's true.
All right. Now, continuing that grooming motion,
I feel the strands of the soul plans moving into place, side by side, no tangles.
yes, it's smooth. See if we can get it smooth like silk. Grooming up the soul plans of all who acknowledge that they have the soul plans to manifest an actual divine plan, no matter what anyone else does or doesn't do, and who have the awareness that might make it possible for them to do something to be of service to the greater good, and who have the intentions to be of service to the greater good, and the intentions to manifest an actual divine plan based on actual sentiences in the dimensions in which they're actually experiencing sentience, with their actual awareness, actual intention, and actual resources. So far so good?
So far so good.
It feels smooth, and now, continuing the grooming motion, add in the actual resources. And it's like the bottom falls out,
That's
everything
true.
drops away.
That's true.
Whoosh. Somebody's asking, what do we make of this? And I don't know whether or not they have good intentions. It doesn't really feel like good intentions.
No, that's true.
What I make of it is that the resources are improperly allocated. That's one point, quite
That's true.
obviously, because all these presences that have the awareness and the intention should also have some of the resources. All the resources seem to be allocated according to a different formula.
That's true.
And therefore the resources are, and what do I know? If the resources are allocated according to a different formula, we are not even headed in the direction of creating lives of joy and worlds that work. We're headed in some other direction. And why do I say that? Because the divine plan is simply an amalgam of individual soul plans that create lives of joy and worlds that work. That's the definition of a divine plan. Nothing else is actually a divine plan.
That's true.
And therefore, if we're not even allocating resources with that end in mind, we're not going to get to it. It isn't going to happen. And somebody's arguing that it might happen by accident. Well, how's the data stacking up with that so far?
They don't want to answer.
I'm being dive-bombed by mosquitoes in both ears right now.
That's true.
So these are nature realms presences. That's what that message means. What do I know? I think that means nature realms presences.
That's true.
And we've had this really comforting experience this last day or so. These nature realms presences are every bit as selfish and greedy, believe their problems to be the worst
That's
as
true.
everybody else in all dimensions. It's just not the same. Which
It just is the same.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry. This poor speaker who's being harassed up there, I think he's literally being dive-bombed. He's having a really hard time. And they're refusing to stop putting static in his ears. They're
That's
trying to
true.
make it impossible for him to think.
That's true.
What now?
Loud noises, very loud noises, all around. Stretching up higher.
Someone is stepping up to the microphone and they have a calmer tone and a less selfish tone and they say, please continue. And they're very sad, and they're sad with the feeling of a whistleblower who knows any moment the door is going to be kicked in at his level and something terrible is going to happen.
That's true.
And he says, just keep going as long as you can, and he's going to broadcast it as long as he can. So we live stream up all the way up through him and through those looking down on him, so that even when his door gets blown in, it doesn't matter, and the broadcast will continue straight up, broadcasting straight up. What this shows is that we can craft an actual divine plan for those levels smaller than our levels, and that nobody else is doing it. Quite obviously, somebody says, what do we base that on? Again, you're arguing with the echo point, look up, look up, look up, but what we're basing it on is that everything fell away when we added allocating resources, when we added in the criterion or parameter of resources, everything fell away. So obviously no resources are being allocated to the skinny kid, quote unquote, in any dimension. So we can do it at least for our smaller selves. We cannot influence this dimension directly, but we can influence smaller dimensions, and maybe, who knows, maybe changing the foundations of this dimension will change it.
That's true.
Are you also having both ears dive-bombed by mosquitoes?
Not right now. Now
It's just been
quiet.
continual. Both ears. This is Nature Realms Harassment.
That's true.
Live streaming up. It's actually no different. Whoever thinks the Nature Realms is different, this one's for you. And now it just stopped.
That's true. It's suddenly very quiet in the head.
Yes. Well, that was it. Now the harassment has stopped. I also think that person is dead or something. Something just happened.
That's true. And there's a big opening straight up.
All right. Well, let's pump up airflow and get some dead kids out of the deeper, denser dimensions
That's
now
true.
while nobody's blocking the path. There's no upward flow. Let's use our big hands and draw up the flow from wherever Pan is working and deliver these child souls onto conference tables upstairs who want to think that the nature realms is somehow different. Here you go. Data for you. They're just still arguing. They're insisting that we must be mistaken, that the nature realms must be different.
That's true. That's true, that's what they're arguing.
Yeah.
Like we must be missing something.
What do you base that on? Maybe we are. Please explain. What is it we're missing? What do you base that on? Why does the nature realms have to be different?
They don't want to respond.
Yeah. All right. Let's just submit this closing process. Wrap from below, aiming straight up the search for truth central axis to someone who really wants to craft an actual divine plan based on actual sentiences in the dimensions in which they're actually experiencing sentience, with their actual awarenesses, actual intentions, and actual resources.